Hello guys, and welcome back to another tutorial, and today we're going to be rewinding time. So you are sorry, now you need by the point now so us actually I would give us. Okay, so how we're going to do that? Well, I'll explain that in just a little bit, but first off, what are we going to do? Well, this is what we're going to do right here. We're going to be rewinding our character back in time, back in its tracks. Nothing but the main character, okay? So let's go ahead and play this, and this is exactly what we'll be doing. Okay, now that we've opened up a new project in Unity, we can go ahead and start. Now, I'm going to go ahead and explain a little bit about how this is going to work. So, to rewind time, for example, we need to get a list of game objects, okay? We need to instantiate game objects as we go along. As we walk, we instantiate game objects at our current position. And as we walk, we continually instantiate game objects, and we put them into a list. Now, then after that, after we press a certain button, we go through and we teleport to each one of those game objects. So it looks like we are going back in time, okay? So that's what you guys saw earlier. That's how that worked. So we're going to go ahead and start. So let's go ahead and start by creating a new C# script called rewind time, okay? Go ahead and open that up in Visual Studio. I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay, so we can go ahead and start by creating a new list. And this list will be a list of game objects. And this will be the list that our game objects are instantiated into. Okay, we're going to call this waypoints. Okay, there we go. New list game object. And that's our list. Next, we need a public int count. Okay, now this variable here is just so that we can know what game object in the list that we're going to be teleporting to. So after we teleport to that game object in the list, we're going to either add to the count or subtract from the count. Okay, so that way we can teleport to each one without teleporting to one multiple times. Okay, so then there's one more variable after that, and that one is called is teleporting. So basically we need to get, are we teleporting, and if we are, we don't want to instantiate any more waypoints, and if we are not, then we want to keep instantiating waypoints, okay? So that is our three simple variables here. Let's go ahead and get on with the functions. Okay, you can go ahead and start by deleting the start function, and we need to go ahead and create two enumerators, which is coroutines. And we're going to call one of them, let's go and do that, create waypoint. And the other one we will call destroy waypoint. Okay. Now, in both of these, we need to return something. So, for now, we're just going to return null. There we go. And we're going to continue these two functions later, but we're just going to go ahead and start in the update function for now. It will move to the coroutines later. Okay? Okay, so we're going to start in the update function by saying if is teleporting is equal to true. So that's basically what that's saying right now, is if is teleporting is equal to true, then this .transform.position is equal to waypoints waypoints, and we're going to create these two brackets here, and we're just going to say count .transform.position. Now you may say, well, we need to figure out what count is. Well, count is not set right now. So we're going to set count in a little bit. And if you want to, you can also set the rotation. So just copy this, change it to rotation to, there we go, rotation. Now this will be very barely noticeable, but if you want it to be noticeable, you can make it noticeable. Okay, so now what we're going to do is set count, okay? So count is this integer here, and basically we're just going to say if this.transform.position is equal to waypoints dot count dot transform dot position. Sorry, waypoints count. There we go. There we go. That's better. Then subtract from count or add either one. We're going to subtract minus equals 1. Now, we're also going to say in this update function, if is teleporting is equal to false, then count is equal to waypoints dot length or count, either one, minus 1. Okay, so that's what that is. So basically, you're saying if teleporting is equal to false, so if we're not teleporting, then the count is equal to the length of our waypoints, subtract it, but you're going to subtract 1 from that. And then if teleporting is true, then we're going to say this.transform, if the transform.position is equal to the waypoints.transform.position, then we're going to subtract from the count, and then we're going to say this.transform.position is equal to waypoints.count, or waypoints count.transform.position. And same with the rotation. Now, currently, we don't have anything in our waypoints, right? So if we go into Unity, we can go ahead and create a couple of empty game objects. And we can go ahead and test this out very quickly. So we're just going to move them to the side here. Move it to the side. Move it to the side. There we go, and we have 3 waypoints. If we go ahead and get a cube and apply this rewind time script to that cube, script class cannot be found. That's because there's a space in the name. I can go ahead and fix that real quick. Okay, so the script's been applied to our cube, and we can go ahead and set our waypoints. So we have 3 waypoints, and we're going to go ahead and set them. The first one, the second one, and the third one. Now, really quickly, you may be wondering why in the world, in our script, well, we don't need to save it for now. Why do we need to subtract, when we set our count, why do we need to subtract 1 from waypoints.count? Well, that is because in Unity, we have, as you can see, 3. But it's element 0, 1, and 2. So when we are saying the count, it's saying this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. But in reality, this is 0, 1, and then 2. So we need to subtract 1 from it so that it's back to this is 0, this is 1, and this is 2. Okay? So that is why we do that. So now that the waypoints are set, we can... Now currently, when we play this, unfortunately, we go backwards. Now that's actually our fault. So if we, boom, it's a little bit strange, but it kind of teleports around. And that's because we've actually set these wrong. So if you think about it, this one is the most recent one to be instantiated. So it's actually the opposite way around that we need to set these. Okay, there we go. And now when we play this, and we click is teleporting, we go backwards. Now, one thing that if you want to do this, you can. You don't have to if you don't want to. Is you can set this to be a vector3.alert. Now, I'm not going to do that, but you guys can do that if you want to, but I'm not going to currently do that. I did that in my last project, but I'm not going to do that here. Okay, so the next part of this script here is to go ahead and instantiate and destroy waypoints. So we're going to go back into Unity, and we're going to go ahead and destroy 2 of these waypoints. We're going to keep one of them. All right, and we're going to put that right at the position of this cube here. There we go. And we're going to save this as scene. Doesn't really matter. Go back into Visual Studio, and we're going to delete the return null part there, and we're going to go ahead and do something else in here. So we're going to start off by waiting 1 second. Okay? New wait for seconds. 1. And then we're going to say if is teleporting. So if we are teleporting, then we don't want to do it. So if is teleporting does not equal true, then we can go ahead and do what we're about to do, which is instantiate our waypoints. So we need to go ahead and do a couple things. We need to go ahead and create a public game object, which is going to be our prefab, so waypoint. There we go. We need to create another one called instantiated waypoint. I had to spell it wrong, sorry. Waypoint instantiated works too, by the way. Okay, and next we need to say if count is equal to -1, then do this, but if it's equal to, well, else, do this. Okay, so basically these two are going to be the same except for one thing. So we're going to go ahead and say instantiate, and we're going to instantiate our waypoint right here, so that game object, at this.transform.position, and this.transform.rotation. Alright? And we're going to set waypoint instantiated to be this game object. So we need to say waypoint instantiated equals, there we go, equals instantiate. And then we can also say at the end of this, just so we don't get any errors, as game object. Okay, there we go. And then right after that, we need to add this game object to our list. Because currently, if we instantiate it, well, nothing's going to happen, and our player's not going to recognize it as a waypoint that it can teleport back to. So let's go ahead and add that to our list. So waypoints dot add, and we're going to add this waypoint instantiated to our list. There we go. All right. Now, why do we have these two things here? We can actually copy this and paste it down here, but there's two main differences from these two. And I'll get back to this part later. We'll go and say add line here, just so we can remember to add that line later. You guys will understand later after we go ahead and destroy our waypoint. Okay, so we need to go ahead and do another thing in the update function, and this is very important, okay? So we're going to say if count is equal to -1, there is teleporting is equal to false. Okay, so there's a reason for this. Basically, if we set is teleporting to true and it's not ever false, then we're going to get errors, because every time we loop through this, it's going to get to 0, and then it's going to destroy everything, and then it's going to be like, wait, there's no more left. So we need to basically say if count is equal to -1, then is teleporting is equal to false. And then we also want to destroy all of the game objects, all of the waypoints after that. So game object waypoint, and then we need to say waypoint is equal to game object.find game objects with tag, and every game object with the tag waypoint is going to get destroyed. And we're going to do that in a for each loop. So for loop here, let's say for each game object, and we're going to just say waypoint in waypoint. Call this waypoints just so it's not a bad thing, just so it doesn't produce errors. And then we're just going to say destroy waypoint, and that's pretty simple there. But before we destroy this waypoint, we need to say remove, or sorry, waypoints.remove, so we can remove it from our list before destroying it, or else we will get an error. Waypoints.remove, and we're going to remove waypoint from this list here. There we go. So that is that. So we are now removing our waypoints from our list after we use them. So after we've teleported from them, we're going to remove them. That way we can't teleport to them again. Okay? So if count is equal to -1, then that's what's going to happen. And down here, it's going to start instantiating it again and again and again and again until we do this again. And then it's going to stop instantiating it. It's going to destroy it. And then it'll keep instantiating it. Okay, and then we need to go ahead and create our destroy waypoint script here, or destroy waypoint coroutine here. And in here, it's pretty much the same thing as this here. We need to say if teleporting does not equal true. There we go. The only thing that's different about this script is the insides here. Okay, so we're also going to change this to 2 seconds. And in the insides here, we're going to say waypoints dot remove at 0. Okay, so it's removing the waypoint at 0, so it's destroying the first waypoint. And then after we destroy the first waypoint, or after we remove the first waypoint from the list, we want to destroy the first waypoint from the list. So how do we do that if we've already removed it? Well, we can just say this. We can say destroy GameObject dot find GameObject with tag starter, because every waypoint that is starting the list is going to have the tag starter. Here we go. And then after that, we want to set our new starter waypoint to have the tag of starter. So we need to say waypoints, and we're going to say 0 dot transform dot tag is equal to starter. Here we go. So now that that is set, we can go ahead and go up here and add this very important line. We're going to say waypoint instantiated, so this one right here, dot transform dot tag is equal to starter. Now you may be wondering, well, why is that? That's stupid. Well, there is a error where if we just have this right here, then it bugs out because it every now and then deletes every waypoint because it deletes it right before the new transform tag is set to starter. Okay, so we need to say if we don't have a starting waypoint, then we need to set a starting waypoint, because if we don't have one, then everything's not going to work and nothing will work at all. So we need to set that new starter waypoint here. And we do that by saying if the count is -1, which means there is none, there is no waypoint in there, then we're going to instantiate a new one. We're going to add that to the list, and then we're going to set that transform tag to starter. And that is it for this script, okay? So in Unity, we can now set a couple of tags here. We need to start off by creating a new empty. We're going to call this waypoint. And we need to give this the tag of waypoint. Here we go. Let's actually create both tags now. Waypoint. There we go. And another one called starter. So we're going to go ahead and give all of these the tag that is needed. And waypoint. And we're going to name the first one starter. And that is already set in here, right? Starter is the first one. And that's set to 1. And starter should be the first one that comes up. Starter. Here we go. And our waypoint is this waypoint right here that is now a prefab. And the waypoint instantiated is, well, currently nothing, and that's okay. That's exactly what we want. One thing that's optional is to give this a button. So if input.getKeyDown, there we go, and we'll just say keycode.e. Then we're going to say is teleporting is equal to true. There we go. And that should work. So one other thing in the script that we need to do, and that is add a start function to kick off our coroutines. That's one thing that we need to do that's very important. So we need to say start coroutine, and we're going to start both of these coroutines like that. And let's go ahead and get the names of them. Destroy waypoint will be the last one. And just going to get the first one, create waypoint, and we're going to set that at the top. There we go. So that is that. Play that, and hopefully we can see our waypoints being instantiated and destroyed as they go, if there's no errors. Now you will need to move the cube around for now. So waypoint, waypoint, waypoint. No, it's not creating anymore, and that is okay. Wonder why. There's one thing that I actually forgot in this script, and that's to loop the coroutine. So that's also important. That's another thing that's important. So we can go ahead and grab both of these, paste them in. There we go. Just delete one of them. And we need to just loop the waypoint or the coroutines, and that's important because otherwise you're just going to create one, and you won't create multiple. Here we go. So now in Unity, you can finally play this, and it will work. Oh, as you guys can see, it's creating it. And we're going to go ahead and press T or E, whatever it was, and we go backwards. And it keeps on creating it. And then we press E, and we go backwards. And it's kind of smooth. Kind of, pretty much. Again, there we go. You guys saw that. And it's rewinding us. Now, this is easier to see if you create it in a first-person view. So we can go ahead and import our characters package. We can go ahead and set it on that. And that will look a whole lot better than having to move this cube ourselves. Alright, we can go ahead and pull our FPS controller in here very quickly here. Just pull it in. We're going to go ahead and set up a simple plane to put this on. There we go. And we'll put our FPS controller down a little bit. We can kind of scale the plane up just so we can walk around. We can go ahead and take this cube, take the rewind time script, put it to the FPS controller, delete the cube, go to the FPS controller, and set the starter empty just over right where the camera is. And now when we play this, we should be able to walk around. Walk around, walk around, walk around. And you guys, if you want to, you can... That is it for this tutorial, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, sorry I'm a little bit sick, but I wanted to release this for you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.